welcome to another episode of Alto Call MAFS. You are tuned into the rewatch of Married at First Sight Season 9. I am your host, Tane, and my co host for the rewatch, Jen. Hi, Jen. How are you?
I am great. And to give your listeners an update from last week, we are in Cambodia. We are safe. So, whatever war is happening at the border between Thailand and Cambodia, we are not affected. So, we're just kind of living our hot, sweaty life here in Cambodia. It is so hot.
Yeah. I'm glad you're okay. I gave Jen instructions. I was like, let me know. And Jen is very good when things happen. She just sends a picture. We don't need a lot of words. And she's like, good. I'm headed to the hotel. So I'm like, okay, good. So good to hear that all is well. Um, what is going on besides every little thing in the world? I'll just give you guys a little bit of housekeeping. Patreon.com/AltoCallMAFS. New episode is up. I am with Raven from Bitches Better podcast, and we talk about the documentary Amy Bradley is Missing. So check that out. It was fun because at the end we talked about what our theories were or what we think happened, and we're not on the same page on what we think happened. So we both think different things. You watched it, Jen, right?
I did. I'm obsessed, and now I'm listening to a podcast. I think it's based on Netflix called "You Can't Make This Up," and
Mhm.
so I've been deep diving into more of it. But it's really good. They did a really good job.
What do you think happened to Amy?
I I don't know. I've every kind of possibility seems like it makes sense. I don't think she committed suicide. I don't think she jumped off the boat. I don't think that happened. I think she's somewhere where she can't get safe for whatever reason.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to spoil what I thought. So, but you can check it out over on Patreon. And as usual, if you want to listen ad free, there's a tier for that. And if you just want to support, you can just support. And if you want to be a free member, you can be a free member and join us in the conversations over there. And reminder that And Just Like That is winding down and being silenced forever and is not coming back. But you can check me out on my other podcast, then Just Like That, the Rewatch Times 2 podcast for the recaps. And we're also mulling over what we are going to rewatch next. So stay subscribed to that. On the regular feed, just had another episode of the Maps catch up, and I have Kristen from the San Diego season, and it was fun and it was nice to talk to her. Kristen has always been very friendly, so check that out. She dropped some tea.
She did. I was like, oh, Chris, when she said, I'm not supposed to say this, I was like, say more.
Do not say less, keep talking. So so yeah, go check that out. And I was very surprised when I asked her without hesitation, who would you match yourself with in the maps universe? Without a hesitation, she mentioned who it is, and I was like, oh, I didn't even think about that. But okay. And then I blanked. I choked for once. I was like, she's like, who would you match me with? And I'm like, didn't even think about it. But I don't know. I thought about somebody else afterwards, and now I'm blanking again. But I'm gonna be prepared next time. For each person I talk to, I'm gonna have somebody that is single. I'm gonna have somebody that I would match them up with. But yeah,
Yeah.
so that's fun.
And what she said about
Go.
Ryan from Houston surprised me. That's not my interpretation of him. So it's nice to know that somebody uh, has a different perspective on who he is as a person. So that was interesting.
So, I mean, to be fair, we're just judgy Georginas who don't know these people who are just creating what we think of them. Love is Blind UK is coming. I will be covering that and just stay tuned for that. And it's starting August 13th. So I think the first drop will be sometime that week. So that's all the housekeeping I have. I think the only other thing is just ideas as we're wrapping up this rewatch. If there's anything you want Jen and I to cover, like just recommendations as we move forward, let me know. Doesn't hurt. We can see what we will be doing then. Okay, moving on to some maths updates. Not much, but Jessica and Austin are celebrating their sixth anniversary. And I think it's just kind of wild that we are getting all these anniversaries because I think Ashley and Anthony celebrated their ninth, I want to say ninth or 10th anniversary. And it's just kind of wild that we have MAFS people. Yes, Jamie has celebrated 10th or 11th, but it still blows my mind that we have this many number of years people are celebrating their anniversary, and it's all because of MAFS. Like, good for them.
Yeah, occasionally it works.
Yeah, that's true. And Miguel is engaged. Miguel from the San Diego season is engaged. I don't think I never remember what I've mentioned or not, but he's been dating someone and he's been posting it on his Instagram. And his fiance does have a daughter, and they've been traveling together, and he seems to have a good relationship with her. So congratulations to Miguel.
You're forgetting the other one that you posted.
Which one?
Our friend Devon.
Okay, my bad. That's a good one. Guys, Devon Franklin is officially married. He is
Off the
married.
market.
He's off the market for all the people. And if anyone is new or tuning into this, in my maps catch up, I have like a running, it's not a joke, or is it a joke, or it's just a funny thing where I ask, because so far it's been people who were there during the transition of Devon and Dr. Pia. And I ask, who did you prefer, Dr. Pia or Devon? And we consistently get the same thing about how Devon seems to be enchanting people, and he's so fine, and everyone is on their best behavior and trying to be ready for Devon. And I think the funniest was Eris when he's like, people who look like bums would suddenly get ready when they knew he would be on set and all that. So it's over now. That era is over because Devon is married, and that's it. Sorry, guys. Thank you for reminding me. Um, for mailbag, it's not really like a question, but I think a couple of requests for challenge recaps because the challenge is back, and you guys know that I'm obsessed with it. So I'm thinking about that. I might do bite-sized challenge recaps on Patreon. Won't be like a full thing, but just sharing my thoughts and seeing what's happening because we have two episodes and it's been really, really good. And it'll be nice to talk about that. So be on the lookout for that. Are you watching The Perfect Match?
I just turned it off before you and I started recording. So yes, because I needed to see the whole origin story of Ali and AD. And also I have a soft spot for Ali. Like I realize he's 23 and a hot mess, but I think he did such a good job
I think
on
you mean Louis.
Louis, sorry. He did such a good job on Battle Camp. Like there's something about him like standing up for people and standing up for his friends that it just kind of gave me a different perspective. So I came in for all oh, I came in for AD and Ollie, staying for Louis.
The thing I love about TV is how we each can have different perspectives on different things. But also, the other thing I realized, because I have a friend who she watches the challenge and Big Brother, but she's not online. And it's just a completely different perspective when you're like me, who's chronically online, and then you hear all the stuff, the feeds and all that. It's a completely different view and experience. So I hear you about Louis because I know exactly what you mean. On Battle Camp, he just seemed focused for once, even though he did get into a showman's. That man can't be single for a
I mean,
second.
he's 20. I get it. Like he's 20, he's horny, he's good looking, he's British. Like I get it. But I think even that one wasn't like tawdry. Like they had a history, they liked each other. Like that one to
Mm.
me wasn't as icky as Too Hot to Handle. So I gave him a pass on that one. They seem to genuinely like each other, but I never understand why people from the UK and the States think getting together is going to work because y'all are,
Because it has. We
you
have
know,
AD and Ollie, and they have a baby. We have
that's true.
Theo and Olivia right now, and
That's
they're having a baby. So
that's true.
if they we have Kayla, who was also on the challenge. She got married to Sam from Love Island, and she's in the UK too. So if they want to, they would. So
Sure.
it's possible, but I know we're all jaded, so we're just like, what are you doing? But I think yes, he was a stand-up guy, but Louis just doesn't seem serious. And right now, he's on the red carpet with Huda. He's caught up in the crossfire of the whole thing with Love Island season 6 because they're calling him a clout chaser because he was Miguel's friend, and it's just a hot mess. And it seems like he comes with drama. But I will say, just to give a mini recap of Perfect Match, guys, I love Perfect Match. My friend always calls it bottom barrel, and I'm like, yes, I agree, but I cannot tell you how much joy that show gives me. It's like the hottest messes of mess. It's like garbage that has been sitting in the sun for 5 weeks, but it gives me joy. It's just people pretending they're here to find love. Yes, they do, because on this season, we're going to have like three couples, I think. There's another one that's engaged. So, you know, but still, it's just a culmination of people. And then this is the first season where they have expanded it to not be Netflix. And you see that because you see them say, "You're not Netflix. Why are you here?" So so it's just fun to see. And again, of course, I'm watching these shows, so I know the history, and it's just interesting to see how it plays out. And Nick Lachey is having the time of his life because he can do this without Vanessa in his ear. And there's some jokes that I'm like, will Vanessa find this funny? I don't know. But he's having the time of his life on here. And not the show starting and me confusing Sandy for Jessica. Like, literally, I was about to say, Jessica, your man is not on this show. Stop coming here. And someone on the show was like, "Hey, Sandy." And I was like, oops, I would have made a fool of myself. I did not know that. So, um, speaking of Louis, I am so surprised that Louis has not been on the challenge yet. That is perfect challenge material. He's going to polydick. That is an actual term, guys, on the challenge where you use romantic situations or sexual situations to gain favor and not be voted in. But he will polydick so hard on, no pun intended, in that show. And he's athletic and he was good in battle camp. So I just think he's perfect. And I'm very surprised that he has not been cast on that show. We also have Clayton from The Bachelor. From anybody who didn't watch that season, that is the season that gave us Rachel and Gabby. Gabby is now like out the zeitgeist from Traders. And Clayton is best known for sleeping with all three of his finalists on their final dates and choosing to tell them, gathering them around and saying, "I just wanted to be honest. I was intimate with all of y'all." But then he didn't
Ew.
want any of them. He wanted the
Ew.
one who'd gone home.
Ew, no, I'm not a bachelor person. That's not my world. I did like when he had that conversation with Juliet, and I don't there's a bunch of people on there that I have no clue who they are. Like Juliet,
Oh,
I have no clue who she is.
I'm making my way. I'll give
Okay.
you the rundown of
Okay, okay,
that. But
okay.
I'm giving a background for you, for just people to know how messy Clayton is. But the problem is he does have good intentions. He's just the corniest person you ever met, and he's still fumbling. So to see that many years later he's still awkward and he says he's working on himself. Let me tell you, Clayton decided to dance. He got made fun of and he decided he's going to start taking hip hop classes. And honestly, he just posts videos of himself doing hip hop dances saying like, I don't care, cuz I think Gabby made fun of him and they had a whole back and forth. So, it's just his good intentions do not play out and he still ends up messy. If this man had said my gut instinct one more time, I would have thrown him out the window because Rachel comes in and he says, "Let's give it one more shot," and then they match. And by the next day, because they had a kiss and he rated her low, he decided like my gut instinct was wrong, and then he dumped her again. And then Rachel is like, "3 times I allowed you to make me a fool on national television." And it's true, Rachel is kind of ditzy, and I think Rachel has been through so much because they brought her back as a bachelorette with Gabby, which was a bad idea. And I think most of the men wanted Gabby, so she God, it's been a journey. And as if to make things worse, she's with Scott. If you remember, Scott is the guy from Love Island that she went on a painting date with. Do you remember that?
No. I'm
Oh,
only
did
on
you watch
episode
the
1.
first batch?
I'm only on
Or
episode
you
1.
Oh, I'm so sorry. So I don't want to spoil it for you. Okay. So Rachel is with Scott, and I'm tired of seeing Scott because Scott was on Love Island UK, Scott was on Love Island USA, Scott was on Love Island Games, and then Scott is here, and Scott is just here for a good time. If you hear when somebody else came in, they were like, Scott is very strategic. He's not here for anything. So, but Rachel is such a lover of love that she's just like all over him and is so happy to see him. And I don't know why this is happening. I don't remember if you watched yeah, you did Love is Blind because Madison.
I didn't watch that season, but I like her. I don't know what her backstory was,
Okay.
but I liked her because although she's not anywhere near being a plus size woman compared to all the sticks like Sandy. It's nice to see like a in this universe like a regular looking woman who
Are
was
we talking about the same
desired.
person?
I but
Madison?
compared to the blonde girl that had the tattoos and the motorcycle,
No. Okay, I don't
that's what
see it, I
that's
guess
what
is
that
what
was.
I'll say because yeah, I don't think so. Cuz I don't like Madison. Madison from I know we when we did Love is Blind, I think Aid and I were on different sides of that, but I think Madison is a chaos agent. I think that she's still a chaos agent. I think she's very manipulative and then she comes in really believing herself. I do think that she is manipulating the person that she chose, which is he's too nice for her, which is Freddie. Freddie's such a nice guy, and he's from Love Is Blind UK. Although I'm beginning to wonder what is the problem with Freddie because he's a funeral director. He's such a nice guy. He is so pretty, but doesn't know that he's pretty. And he had issues with his person on Love Is Blind UK as well. And then now he's still like single and I'm like, why is he single? Like something must be off because he's successful, he's good looking and still there. But it's funny because they bring someone in and Madison says that Jalen is her type to a T. Jalen is tall, Jalen is black, Jalen is nothing like Freddie, so what are we doing? What are we doing? So Madison is very possessive. Madison weaponizes the tears every single time. So I'm not sure what's going on. Everyone is watching for AD and Ollie. AD is from Love Is Blind. Charlotte and Ollie is from Love Is Blind UK. Ollie is the kind of person who what we thought Woody was when we saw, where it was just like we think he's a player and all that is happening. And he did say that. He said he came in here and he was here to have a good time, but AD just caught his eye and they've been locked in from day one. For anyone who doesn't know, as of right now, they're engaged and they're expecting a baby. But it's just seeing how all this is going to play out because they're very touchy feely. I think there was an instant attraction. And I think that is the concern with people is like they're just focused solely on the physical, but I don't see it that way. They seem to be locked in. AD is also a lover of love. AD is also someone who would do anything for her man. So it's just wondering if they're coming at it from the right way and Ollie being serious because he's already been tempted already. So it's going to be interesting to see how all of this plays out. We meet Danielle. This is the one person who I haven't watched because I didn't watch Dated and Related. Even I have standards, guys. I lie. I don't have standards. But but he just gets offended every 5 seconds and I think that is very scary because he's with Lucy. Lucy's from Too Hot to Handle, who I really liked, and honestly I think she's so pretty. But every little thing he's like, you embarrassed me, you embarrassed me. And when a man is always easily getting embarrassed, to me that's a red flag. So we'll see how that happens. Talking about Juliet, like you said, Juliet is from Siesta Key. That is an MTV show that I used to enjoy. A bunch of privileged kids in Siesta Key in Florida just doing whatever they wanted, and a bunch of them is selfish. So put selfish people together, and what do you get? It's kind of like a downscaled Vanderpump Rules, but in Siesta Key. And Juliet was a star, and like she said, she can be bitchy. What you see is what you get with Juliet. She will speak her mind, and she doesn't care what she has to do. She had a lot of falling outs with her friends over there. So
Is it like a East Coast version of the Hills? Is what I took it as.
yeah,
Laguna Beach in Florida.
we can say that. I guess except that we didn't meet them from high school.
Okay.
So we met them just when they were very, very young. And then even one of them ended up with a producer of the show. But yes, it's like a huge age gap. But yeah. So I don't know. It's interesting. We have all the people. There's a lot of games, and I'm excited for you to catch up. And maybe next time we will talk about, what you've seen
Yeah, it's
so far
interesting. It's
and
interesting,
what you've
especially
seen.
for the people that I haven't watched their shows, so I don't have
Mhm.
any background into who they are. I think Madison stood out to me when she said what she said about Cody and needing a tongue scraper. I was like, oh, brutal. I was like, girl,
That is true. Like, can you imagine someone saying that about you?
no, on Netflix, no, unless this is going to be his next endorsement deal. He's going to get a Listerine endorsement deal after this. But wow, that was bold.
That was bold. So yeah, we'll see what happens. I will say though, like to just to give Louis a bone, he seems to be very into Sandy, and he seems to actually be catching feelings, and it's very weird for me to see. But I also don't know if he's just playing the game or not. But yeah. So either way, it's not for everybody, but it is for me. I recommend everybody watch Perfect Match because it gives me so much joy. All right, we are going to go straight into the episode and we'll be right back. Okay, and we're back. This episode is what is the couple's retreat, but I noticed that they don't exactly call it the couple's retreat. They just kind of say like they're going into the woods. So the way we'll tackle this is just kind of give a little roundup of what the couples were doing and then go straight to when they go into the mountains. So before all of that happens, Deanna and Greg are double dating with her sister and her boyfriend. And Greg gets there because Deanna is late and he asked them for tips, and they're just ramping up this whole she's taking it slow, she's taking it slow. I just don't know. It's not believable because there's 1 week left. Like, how much slower can it be? And I think they don't have any material for Deanna and Greg, and they've just decided to focus on this.
Yeah, I don't know. And the whole give her time, give her time, give her time. I think he's doing as much as he can, and I think she's pushing as much as she can in the short
Yeah.
amount of time that they have together. So as much as they're looking for something to make the two of them be dramatic, it's just not there. They're working through things, they're communicative, but if you need to find something, I guess that's the thing, because
Yeah.
he gets along with her
Mhm.
family, their friends are intermingling, he likes her dog. Like there's no there. So
Yeah.
do what you gotta do,
Yep.
producers.
You are right. And I just want to point out that, of course, their date was axe throwing. There was an era of reality TV shows where if it wasn't axe throwing, it was goat yoga. I don't know if there was a reality TV convention, but that was the activity of the season. And of course, they're axe throwing. Greg and her sister's boyfriend was so bad that I was laughing so hard. Like, it was kind of like Greg was throwing with all of his power, all of his might, and I was like, I was with Deanna. Go for safety because this is not looking safe. So
But the thing I like
that's
about
their.
Greg so much, sorry to interrupt you. The thing I like about him so much is that he doesn't take himself seriously. Like somebody
Hmm.
for me who's competitive, I would be so frustrated if I wasn't doing well. And I know a lot of men who wouldn't be like, oh, she's better at me than this, but she's better at him at a lot of athletic stuff, as we saw last week with Top Golf. But he's not threatened by it. He's just like, all right,
Yeah,
baby, I'll try it. So that's another reason why they're just so great, that he's like, I suck at stuff, but I'm going to try it. He's not like, oh, I'm on TV or I got to uh, put on airs and I got to make myself look masculine. He's like, I tried it. I'm not good at it, but I love you. So here we go.
yeah, and he's willing to push himself. Iris and Keith, they don't do much before the retreat because all Iris does is bring up decision day, and I'm like, for all we're told, where they're not supposed to be discussing it beforehand. I don't know how they keep making them talk about it on there, but she just kept saying, decision day is coming. What are you thinking? What are you thinking? I'm like, what can he say? Because it's not like they ever, not like anyone can actually say, you know what? I'm thinking I'm going to say no. I don't like it as a trope when it comes up, I guess.
One, it's one of those things where she doesn't even know. Like she's so wishy washy on, I want this, you're my husband, but also I don't know you and I'm not willing to go deep and be intimate and share anything with you. So she's pushing him for an answer, but she's not giving him the things he needs to know to make an answer. So it's
Yeah.
it's frustrating for me to watch, and I can't imagine how frustrating it is for Keith. And I
Mm-hmm.
don't know, at one point she said, because I wrote it down, she said, if I'm not giving 100%, what am I giving? And I wrote, exactly, exactly.
Oh man. For Beth and Jamie, Jamie tells us in the selfie cam that he does say Elizabeth. I think we have regressed back to Elizabeth, but that he and Elizabeth got into a huge fight a couple nights ago. And I'm like, every episode of with them starts with this. We got in a huge fight yesterday, we got in a huge fight. A couple of days ago, we got in a huge fight. This is basically how he goes for them every single time. So he hasn't been home since, and they haven't seen each other in a few days, and that they keep going in circles. So we see that they meet at like a creamery, an ice cream place, and then they hug like nothing's happened. I'm like, this guy's. Beth says that she thinks that it's fucked up that he hasn't been home in 4 days. So she texted him to meet up, and it's weird to see him. And he's saying this as he's like sucking down his ice cream, like it's the first meal of the day that he's had. And he says that, he doesn't come in peace. I think that's the best way to put it. And we talked about this last week where it's like where they could balance each other out is Jamie doesn't always have to come guns a blazing, knowing like how Beth is. And you say you like that about her. So you have to work with her or around her and not try to always match whatever energy that she's giving. Like someone has to be the balancer. I'm not saying it has to be him, but if he has the ability to do so, but is choosing not to, well, maybe he doesn't have the ability. I'm giving him too much. But he can't help himself. He sits down and she's like, "How have you been?" And he's like, "I've been good. It's been nice. It's nice to be in a positive space with no complaining, no bad energy." Why would you start a conversation like that? What do you get out of it? Like he needs a page out of Keith and I can't remember who else it is that said it, but when you say things, how is it productive to the conversation that we're having right now? So she asked, "Are you going to come home tonight?" And he's like, "I'm not done." He didn't say this. This is me interpreting his body language. "I'm not done. I have to get out all my nasty stuff so you feel the jab." And he's like, "Why would I come home? You have been nasty to me, and everyone has a tolerance level, and you talk down on me and you insult me, and your lack of remorse is like crazy." And Beth does the right thing. She says nothing. She just sucks down her milkshake really loudly. It's done, but she's still like sucking on the straw. And he tells us that he wants to be with her, but how do you be with someone who has no humility and who doesn't take any accountability? Um, he then tells her that he wants them to take a step back and that their biggest issue has been sex. And what he wants to do is take sex off the table and see if they have a better understanding for each other. And they really need to stop fighting and going around in circles. Beth tells us in a confessional that she's happy that he's taking sex off the table, but she gives him 3 days max before he folds. And this is my question, Jen. What is the sex issue? I feel like we're going along with it. We're saying, and he keeps bringing it up that they have sex. And at first, we thought it was a whole thing of he only wanted her for her body. Then he was like they weren't having sex enough. But then she said that they did. But he seems to keep coming up and now I'm just like, okay, I really need a clear picture on what exactly is the sex issue because she seems always surprised every time he says that. Like her eyes literally come out of her head every time he mentions it. And I don't know what is your interpretation of what is the sex issue?
I think that they both have two different reasons for doing it. Like she to me does it for attention and he to me does it because hey, if I've got to put up with all of this other stuff, this at least should be my reward, which is my
Mm.
interpretation because there's no other connection that the two of them have. This is the only spot where and even her saying like I just do it to shut him up, they get nothing out of it. There's no part of their relationship that benefits or serves either one of them. So I don't know. I think she does it to keep him around, and he does it to stay.
But either way, if he does it to stay and she does keep him around, they are having the sex. So
Yeah,
so
basic
what
Caucasian
is
sex.
I don't know. She said it was good. I don't know. These people are just saying all these things, but I think that's what I need clarity. Like if I guess if I get a chance to speak to either of them, that would be what I want to know is what exactly was the sex issue because they're not even in agreement on what it is. So there are two people there to have the sex. So how can two people have such different viewpoints of what it is? So I don't know if they're keeping stuff from us, but
But they also needed to have the conversation that Dr. Viviana had with Matt and Amber last week, where it's like, all right, cool. If you take sex off the table, that's great. But what's replacing it? Are you still holding hands? Are you still kissing? Are you still cuddling? Are you still doing all of that stuff? And they seem to be doing it kind of. It feels more playful than sexy. Like when they were in bed and Beth's like, can I wax your butthole? And can I take it? Like, I don't know. Like, I don't, any of this stuff is not sexy and it's not like intimate, but I guess it is for her. I don't know. They're just so mismatched that there's not a way to make any of this stuff work. I don't see it in even sex. Like, they don't approach it the same way. They don't value it the same way. I don't know what any of this is for.
And I guess the other question is how much are they keeping to the rule? Because to us, it feels like they say, let's take sex off the table. And then it feels like they just have sex the next day.
They do. They both lead with it, and I think there was something where somebody made a joke about it. I think it was Beth, and I forget what the joke was, but I'm like, yeah, you can, if you're taking it off the table, then take it off the table. You can't still keep making jokes and innuendos about it because it doesn't get you anywhere. Like, I know you want to be
Mm,
playful and fun, but if you're taking it off the table, take it off the table, because if you make jokes about it, Jamie's going to think he's got an opening. So
mm.
I don't know. I think they need like a live-in expert, like
Therapist.
somebody staying in the room next door, and maybe they can rotate. Maybe like Dr. Viviana's there for 2 days, and then Pastor Cal's there for 2 days, and Dr. Pepper's there for 2 days. Like, they need like immediate action daily, regularly. It's so
I mean,
strange.
it doesn't matter. It goes in one ear, it goes out
And
the
not the
other.
other,
So
you
we Amber and Matt. The light is completely out of Amber's eyes. Like it doesn't take in it's not that difficult to see. Like she's not the Amber that we met in the beginning. But we see her we her best friend Trent and she's telling him about the childhood exercise and she says that she is trying to protect herself, but even though she's trying to protect herself, Matt melts her. And I kind of cackled when her friend was like, "Well, does he melt? I mean, you're melting, but does he melt?" And that made me laugh. And she says that she wants to be with Matt forever, but she wants to be in a healthy relationship. She wants him to stop acting single. And the friend asks, how often is he going out? And apparently he's going out every day.
but
So,
but he's home at 2. She said be home at 2:30, and I'm sure he's back by 2:30 a.m. So, he did what she asked. Oy, oy.
her friend is like, you deserve better. Like, you shouldn't be second guessing yourself, and you're amazing. And I don't know why you're having a hard time finding this love. And you need to feel that before you say yes or you say no. And I'm like, is Trent in love with Amber?
I was thinking the same thing. I was like, what's happening? Is he gay? Like, why haven't they matched up? Like, I think this is exactly what we need here. And I don't know. But I had the same, that was my note for myself, was like, I really just miss her smile. Because at the
Yeah.
beginning, when they do the intros and she's like, I met my husband, like, she used to smile so much. And now she just looks like just so sad and downtrodden and beaten down,
Yeah.
and like she's got nothing left. I don't want this for her at all. And even with her
Yeah.
friend, she didn't have it. Like, you would think, okay, I've got this thing with Matt going on, but I'm with somebody who loves and cares about me. That should fill me up. But for her to be still sad with her
Yeah.
friend, like, oh, she needs. Ugh, it hurt my heart so much for her.
I think it's her just realizing like this might not be good, but she wants this to work so bad that she's just like, oh my God, are you serious again? So it's just difficult. She does say that this is one of the hardest things and she wants to feel worthy and enough. And the friend tells us, like, this is so concerning that she is still considering staying married to this guy.
Yeah,
It's
but
not funny, but it
but
was kind of funny.
But did he say it to her though? I mean,
No.
I like what he said, where he said that Matt, he doesn't know if Matt realizes what he has, and I
Yeah.
think that's true. That's so so true.
Yeah. I mean, I do think he gave her good advice and was basically like, listen, you have to be sure, you have to know what you're doing because I don't think they can flat out say, oh, you got to say no on decision day. So that's where they are. Okay, so that's all that happened before they went on the retreat. So we'll take a little break and come back and talk about their retreat. And as a reminder, if you do not want to hear ads, you can sign up on Patreon to listen ad free to the episode. And we'll be right back. And we're back. Okay, so Dr. Viviana is telling us about this retreat and how it's a chance to bond. And I'm like, where is Dr. Pepper? Did she check out for the season? Like, the rest are just picking up the slack. So Beth is so excited to leave, and they get there, and Beth is just like, look at this place, look at how the views, and that she's just really excited. And Jamie's like, okay, rein it in.
Did you see his face? Like, I don't know why I was focused on him, but when she was bumping up, when she was jumping up and down, and she's like, "Look at the mountains, look at the trees," and da 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 da, his face was just like, "Shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up." And I was
Yeah,
like, "Oh, you hate her. You hate
yeah.
her. Wow. Like you hate everything, but you don't like her personality. You don't like her energy. Like you hate this woman. Wow."
And that's the thing. Am I going to say Beth is not extra? No, Beth is extra, but that is who she is as a person. We all have different things that anybody else would find annoying, for lack of a better word. But don't come out and say you like that it's never going to be boring, that she's eccentric and she's this. And then in real life, someone who's just finding the little joys in things, and you could, again, I hate to repeat myself, there's some things you should let go. It's just essential in a relationship that it's not everything that's a battle. But Jamie wants to make everything a battle. And that's part of their downfall. So telling her to rein it in just seemed cruel
Yeah. And
because
And
if
I
you walk
thought,
away, oh, go
go
ahead.
ahead. I was just gonna say, like, it was my thought before, like when he was real, like, I can't take this woman to a Christmas party, or I can't have her around my friends. Like, but they're around people that know her and are aware of her, so I don't think the rein it in. I mean, you can't rein it in is not appropriate. You either let this woman be her or you
She's
don't.
not a horse.
Yeah. But I figured if he was gonna do it, it was gonna be around like his people, but especially after what happened at the racetrack. Like, I can't imagine you telling her to rein it in. I think that's going to end well.
Like, it's just the wrongest choice of words. And
Yeah.
again, unnecessary. You could shake your head, tell yourself, oh, Beth, here she goes again, and keep walking. Like, no one was around. But he can't help himself. So Jamie says that they're cooking dinner as some kind of peace offering for how they reacted the last time they were all together. And honestly, I think he's the one who's put so much thought in it. I don't think anybody else is thinking about it. Like, they're with the right cast, because this cast don't care. They're all about stay in my lane. That happened. If you like it, I love it. It's not, again, new era where they're just like, oh my God, the last time we were together, this couple, they've moved on. But Jamie is still on it. So while they're cooking dinner, a bear rolls out in their driveway. And I'm like, this also happened in season 16, I believe. There was another couples retreat where a bear came out, and I'm just like, why are we doing this, guys? I would be so freaked out by this. We're going to talk about, or maybe not, later on, where they saw a spider. I'm not scared of bugs, so that wouldn't freak me out. But everyone's reaction to that would be my reaction to a bear. It just, I don't know.
And
I can't.
I think my husband noticed this because he's eagle eyes, but he was like, there was a sign outside that said something about beware of bears. So wherever they were, they knew that it was possible. And I don't know. I guess I feel like production's not gonna let anything happen to them. So I'm like, okay, there's a bear, but I would rather a bear than a spider personally. But
What
that's
is
just me.
what is production gonna do? Throw a camera at the bear?
Maybe,
Like, I just
you know, there's a couple of techniques.
I mean, they were excited. Okay, at this point, it's just Beth and Jamie and Deanna and Greg. And Jamie's being obnoxious. Like, he's knocking on the door, like, hey, we're over here. But I mean, they were excited. They ran to the front door while Deanna and Greg were behind. But then they eventually came to the kitchen window and were filming the bear. Because at the same time, while I would be terrified, I will say it is a once in a lifetime experience to actually say, like, oh my God, I was in the same vicinity as a bear. So,
Yeah, it'd be kind of, and it was a little one. Although at some point you go, okay, there's a little one.
she said little one.
There's a big one around somewhere close. But from the
That was
safety of
not a little one to me.
Well, my husband's from Oregon, and so he's outdoorsy and all of that stuff. So I think he's kind of desensitized me to some of that stuff. But yeah, it was a little one. But again, where there's a little one, there's a big one. So that would that
Mhm.
would be concerning.
So Beth and Deanna are in the kitchen, and Beth asks Deanna if she knows her answer, and she says no. And I have to make that decision this weekend and really find out. And just to repeat, I hate this trope of them asking, "What are you gonna say? What do you think?" We know that they cannot say anything, so why even bring it up? It's just frustrating because it's producer prompted, and I'm like, take this off the books. I don't want to hear it. So Beth says that it's difficult, and Deanna says that she really, really likes him. We've gone from one really to two double reallys, but that they're in a good place. And I always feel for the healthy couple in these kind of situations because I always remember Bobby and Danielle, where Dallas was basically a burning house and they had no fights, nothing. And it's like, what do you want me to say? Like, nothing is going on. We're good. But nobody wants to be the one that's like, we're good. Sorry, you guys are going through it. So for Deanna, she has to like, oh yeah, we're trying to fit. Deanna has made up her mind. I'm going to be with this man forever. So things are going great as far as I'm concerned. So Jamie asked Greg because they're grilling in the back, and he was like, you guys look so good. Like, I'm envious because you took it slower and you had sex later. But, for him and Beth, this is their resetting point. But he's envious because they're actually building. And Greg says, well, it doesn't mean that you can't change it. And I like how Jamie seems to imply that it's because they had sex early that everything is imploding because that is not your problem, sir. Problem is saying things like rein it in,
Right.
calling your wife the C word, telling your wife to shut up in public, and the list goes on and on.
Well, and I like that when they were talking, I think Greg went to this real casually. And then at some point, Jamie starts saying a lot. And Greg gives him that face like, oh, hey, man, TMI. Like, I thought we were just out here grilling. What's happening?
Yeah, and I think that's what it is with this cast. They're very hands off. They're not like, oh, we're your friends. Come confide in me. Like, I don't want to know. The less I know, the better.
But also,
So,
they were outside of this, they would never be friends. Like, there's no
well,
place where Greg and Jamie
well,
would hang out. Is that not true?
well. Remember, I'm not supposed to spoil it for you.
That's
So,
okay. That's
well,
It's not relationship spoiling. This is man date stuff.
yeah. So Jamie says that Greg is a great guy, that he doesn't say a lot, but whenever he does, it's usually meaningful stuff. I'm like, yes, so stand there, pick up on that, and go ye forth and practice. So they actually start dinner without the other couples. I don't know why the other couples were so late, but coming in at night, knowing that there are bears in the vicinity. So they get there. Somehow they already know about the bear and they're talking about it. And from nowhere, Mr. Matt talks about bringing his rifle, shooting a bear, making a necklace out of his claws. And Beth is horrified. And knowing who Beth is, I'm actually giving her kudos for her reaction because she did not say everything she wanted to say. She just had her eyes pop out her head and was just like, what? So, yeah. What did
See,
you think about that?
I here's my note. My note for this episode was like, I'm going to give grace to the people I've bashed all season, but then they started talking. So I came in here ready to give Matt some grace, and I it's just weird the things that he gets the things that excite him and the things that you can get energy from him from. It's like, okay, sure. You're excited about hunting, but it seems like the more people disliked it, the more he leaned in. So I don't know. Maybe he is a bit of a contrarian. I don't know. I don't know. That boy weird.
They're discussing tattoos. They're all like all together now having dinner. They're discussing tattoos. Then they have this they go to bed. Everyone goes to bed and that was it. And then they wake up in the morning and they're having breakfast. And there's this big exaggerated scene starring Iris about a spider that they saw, because earlier when they came in, they saw the spider and then they decided to take the rooms upstairs. But Iris does not know this because she came late and they were just discussing it. And then Beth asks Iris if she wants a shot. And Iris says, of Keith's tequila. And I had flashbacks of her and the juice
My
at their
lemonade.
housewarming
They drink.
because, oh, yeah, the lemonade. Because I'm like, Keith's tequila? What that mean? He brought it for the house and it's out there. Like, why are we labeling people's drinks and stuff? But Iris does not stop at that by just saying no. She just keeps going on. Oh, I haven't eaten. Oh, I cannot take one on an empty stomach. Oh, I don't have enough body mass. All right. Keith is
Yeah,
like, no one has eaten. It's not special to you.
I like him.
And she's still going on. She's like, but what if I throw up? And Keith is like, oh, you need the peer pressure. And she's like, what do I need that for? And he's like, you need that push sometimes. And she's like, I don't take into peer pressure. I do what I want. And then Beth says, Iris needs to chill out and have fun, but also they're hard to read as a couple. Like they're trying to make it look like they're happy, but I'm also trying to guess if they are or if they're not. She's not wrong, but I will say that that's how I read this group. I think I'm now attuned to the new era maths where everybody's on friendship at first sight and everyone is all happy go lucky and all that. I think like the dynamic, like they're all nice and I think they all care for each other, but I do find the chemistry of them as a group weird.
Yeah, they don't want to get in each other's. They're not there to stir it up. Although Beth is really open and wants to talk about stuff, I think
Yeah.
uh, Amber is really open to talking about stuff, like especially when the ladies got together. But I think Deanna and Iris are not where they are, it seems. So I don't, yeah, it's an interesting dynamic. And my only thing is if Beth has to tell you to chill out, chill out.
But I will say, do you remember in the honeymoon when Beth and Jamie had their first fight? Even Beth was like, I'm not going to tell them about this fight. Like, they're not having my best. I'm not going to say this. So there's a weird, to your point, I don't know if they like each other. They're forced into the situations, but do they actually like each other? Like, I feel like a lot of them probably think, like, oh, Beth is extra, but no one's actually going to say, oh, you're extra, I still like, I don't know. It's just a weird dynamic because they're all nice too. Because in recent ones, at least if you're being mean, we're like, oh, you're mean. This is a you're an asshole or something. But I don't know.
I
It's a
don't,
little
yeah.
this retreat was very it wasn't so fun to watch, let me
No,
say.
and I don't need to be them to be besties on the level of
Yeah.
Denver. Like those ladies took it a little too far. But
Yeah.
I think in terms of, we're in because they, whenever you have a guest that you interview, they all say the same thing. Like we're the only people that have been through this experience and we're the
Yeah.
only people that know what's going on. And so to some degree, you can lean into that to say, hey, are you experiencing this? I am too. But they seem on the whole like not interested in getting into the middle of it unless prompted by producers. So I don't
And I
know.
think the difference between them and Denver is they recognize that yes, no one else has gone through this and our journeys are different. Denver saw their whole journeys as a collective, even though they were all dealing with different things. So I think that's also different. So Ira kicks things off because if you've been listening to the interviews, someone has to uh, volunteer as tribute to kick all these conversations going. So Iris is like, "So, how are things going for you, Amber?" And Amber reaches for the sour cream like 100 times. I will confess to you, I don't know that I can count the number of times that I've had sour cream on one hand in my entire life.
Really? Are you
It's
not a
just not a staple for me.
are you not a Mexican food girly?
I will not put sour cream though.
Wow.
The guac I could lay it on thick, thick, but sour cream,
What do you put on a baked
that's it.
potato? Mm.
Maybe nothing. Cheese.
What?
I don't eat baked potatoes so much, but honestly, not sour cream. No, there's
Huh.
cheese, yeah. There's bacon bits, yeah, and then not sour cream. So that's why I noticed it because she just kept reaching for it. Again, could be editing, but that girl kept reaching for the sour cream. I know she loved her some sour cream.
No, that girl's eating her feelings.
She is because she did it with the friend too.
She is eating her feelings. I'm surprised she's gonna come out of this season 15 pounds heavier because she is eating her feelings.
She was. Um. So he says that it's been a journey, and that's Matt. And Amber is like, can you elaborate? What is this journey? Where you go to? Where'd you buy a ticket to? Where'd you land? And he says that he's been feeling pressure all around, and it takes time to articulate what he's feeling in the best way possible that is productive. I will say I agree with him on that. Like, I feel like if you're in the pressure cooker and you want to say what you're feeling, unlike Jamie, you have to be considerate about your partner. You're not even sure what you feel, how you're going to even say it and all that. So I understand that. And he says you have to dig deep constantly. And besides saying how you feel, you have to figure out how you feel. And honestly, like, he just feels like he's in a constant mind fuck. And they're all like agreeing with him, and they all look so somber, and like they're in some support club or so. I don't know. I don't know if you watch Summer House, but there's like a famous singing there where Kyle is like clapping his hand, is like, summer should be fun. And I just want to yell out, couples retreat should be fun. Like, I just, this is too somber for me. I don't know if you agree with me, but I don't know.
This is going back to my goal of this episode, was to give grace to the people I've been bashing. So the nice things that I have to say about Matt is that he needs guidance, and that I think he, as a basketball player, is somebody that to some degree is coachable, and he seems to be insightful about other people, just not himself. And so that's where bro needs some coaching.
Do you think he's not insightful, or he is insightful and just doesn't want to do what he's supposed to do?
I think he wants to do whatever causes him the least amount of pain. Whatever causes him the least amount of work and effort is what he wants to do. It's less effort to
Mhm.
leave and hang out with his friends than it is to be there with Amber talking about his feelings.
Which is my point. Like, he knows that's what he's supposed to do, but he's like, too much work. So,
I think we talked about this once, but like, what did he think this was going to be? Like, what did he think marriage was? He signed up for this. Nobody put a gun to his head. He chose to do this. So what did he think this was going to be? I think he just thought it was going to be all fun and sex and vacations and being left alone. But I don't know if what marriage.
yeah. And that's the thing. I'm always like, oh, if you're attracted to your wife, it makes it 10 times much easier. I do think he's attracted to her, but that doesn't seem to be helping anything, which is why I lean heavily towards, is there somebody else that is taking away his attention? So that way he keeps comparing the two. Because honestly, staying out every night, that's wild.
It's also wild for him to say, conversely, I feel like I've given a lot and it's not enough. How are you giving when you're not there, sir? Bro. Mm.
um, So they get homework from the experts where they have to dive deep and share their experiences and what they've learned about marriage. And look who makes an appearance, Dr. Pepper. And and she's explaining it to us, and that the goal is for them to create thought-provoking questions. So Jamie, it's like a round table, like I said. We watched like half an hour of these people sitting in a round table complaining, and it was a therapy session, but not like in couples therapy type of way, because no one is there to mediate. And that's an idea too. Why are we having couples therapy where the experts are not there? I think we had one in San Diego, which didn't turn out well, because Dr. Pia was the one, and I think someone wasn't happy about something. I can't remember. But there's no point having couples retreat and telling these people to do all these things, but there's no guidance. So you're having all these feelings. Everyone is anxious about decision day coming, and no one is there to kind of like mitigate everything. That doesn't make any sense to me, but what do I know?
I mean, it works for Matt because and I think even Amber said this, like he's saying more to you guys right now than I've ever heard. And I don't think he's as honest with the
Mm.
experts as well. So for Matt, this was effective. I don't know about anybody else.
Okay, so Jamie talks about marriage being hard, and when it's tough, he just wants to get out of there. And but he thinks that, oh, when he gets out of there, it's better to be alone, but it's not true. Like, he's happier when he's with Beth. This man has said this many times, and my brain cannot. What in the toxic hell? How is it happier when you're with Beth, but when you're around her, all you want to do is cause her pain?
Yeah. Just fight.
So Amber thinks that Jamie came in for the right reasons, that he's at least trying, and you can see it with the effort. And I just want to give her a hug because she's comparing him to her husband. And I'm like, nah, baby girl, just because he's trying in toxic hell. So Deanna thinks that it's good to ask questions, so what she's learned, and ask for opinions and suggestions. But what she's learned is, I don't have to do exactly what you did because we are our own people. And I'm like, that is very mature. And that's what a lot of people need to also learn. And she learned about herself that she does not like to talk about feelings. And if you ask her a question, she'll answer and then shut it down. And then the other couple stop pointing at the culprits in their marriage, meaning Beth and Jamie pointing at each other because they can't even agree on that, and Iris pointing at Keith. But Deanna says that she knows that when she shuts down the question, it's not fair because then it leaves room for him to create his own story. I think I wrote down, like, oh, what a wise woman. So Iris says that as an only child, she has never had to be accountable for anyone else's feelings. And it's not like she's trying to be selfish. She just never had to. So she's learning that. Greg says that, why do I have Gregory in my notes? Greg
Oh,
says
he got upgraded.
Greg says that he understands Iris because you're at the place where you're curious, but you don't want to seem like you're pestering them. And then Matt just comes in like, well, why can't you just leave it be? And then it's like record scratch, like
Yeah.
literally putting a record scratch, and everyone's looking at him like, and like, because you're married,
Yeah, because
everyone seems to know that except you, Matt.
it's communication. That's how that works. You don't just say stuff and not let it go anywhere. I think I really liked Iris's puzzle piece analogy where she was like, you present me with this, you present me with this, and I don't know what pieces are missing. So I have to use what I know and fill in
Mm-hmm.
those missing pieces, which I thought was kind of the crux of everybody but Greg and Deanna's issue,
Yeah,
is that you're putting in what you would do and what you would think and putting that on your partner. And that's why the two of you aren't able to communicate effectively. I thought that was
yeah,
really good.
yeah. Keith says this experiment has been the most he has talked about his feelings, but at the end of the day, we all have to remember that they've all haven't known each other long. Matt says, like, it's been a struggle for him to change his lifestyle from single to worrying about someone else. That is something he struggles with because then he pauses. And Beth is like, I feel like you're holding stuff back. Like, just say it. And he's like, it's a lot more work than he expected. But, then he realizes where he is and then he switches up. When you have feelings like I have for Amber, I don't mind putting in the work. And that's what I like about us, that we are just able to put in the work and we keep trying. And everyone's like, aw. And Amber's face is like, you really believe this dude? Really, guys? Really? As she stuffs her face.
And she stuffs her face and eats her feelings because she can't say this stuff out loud. Poor thing.
So Amber tells us, the viewers, her real friends, that his words don't match his actions. And like he's saying all these things in front of them, but why has he never told her that personally? So Matt says that he thinks that he's giving enough, but then his enough is not enough. And like Jen said, I don't know how you think enough is enough when you don't come home, when
Ugh.
you don't took sex off the table, when you don't want to talk to your wife and you feel like when she asks questions you should leave it be. What is your enough, sir?
You don't
That's
answer
like
questions. But I will give, again, because I'm giving the boy grace this week, that the producers did him dirty when they focused on his face. Because I think Jamie at one point said that being single was easier, and they whoop banned straight to that. I was like, oh, you guys, that's me.
I think Matt was like, it works for them, so if they're happy again, that's great. um Amber and Iris have like a separate conversation. This is after they're done with like the group therapy stuff, and then the next day they're just walking the pathway, and you know she's talking about her being a virgin and how that's going to impact her final decision and how that's going to affect Keith. And I'm not paying attention to anything they're saying. I'm not going to lie, because I cannot believe they just stood in a pathway in the woods when we saw a bear yesterday. Like,
Iris had a big stick. It's fine.
okay. Not I. Could not be me. So Greg and Deanna go on a date because they're all supposed to go on their all different dates. But their date was very interesting. They went food foraging in the wilderness. What an idea. But I do know why they did that. They wanted to highlight the fact that Greg is unadventurous and Deanna is very adventurous. And also highlight the fact that, Greg just love him some Deanna. He hasn't said it yet, but it's very obvious that Greg loves Deanna and he'll do whatever it is just to impress her. Because they had to eat bugs, they had to eat grubs, they had to eat like, I don't remember what it was, but it had like a jelly texture from the woods, and Greg actually tried it and it worked because Deanna was impressed. She was like, he actually did it. He actually tried it, and Greg was just in pain the whole time. So it was cute.
Cute. And I think I made notes of how many times she touched him or held
Hmm.
his hand or gave him kind of some of that affection. And they're also, again, I love how playful they are. Like, even though this is something that he did not want to do, because there's enough men who would be like, I'm not eating that. But he tried it, even though he didn't like it. But I don't know. I just like the two of them. So I like them really well. And he calls her wife so comfortably. Like when Matt says it, he has to remember to say it. But when Greg says it, like it just rolls off his tongue.
That's funny. Beth and Jamie, they went to a salt cave and sound therapy, another one of reality show activities. I think I saw this in Real Housewives of Potomac or Salt Lake City, or maybe both. Who knows? But yes, um, Jamie thinks that it's a strange date, but it is nice that she's willing to be open and share things like this with him. And it's just so crazy to me the things Jamie's willing to be okay with and accept and doesn't bother him. And maybe it's the things that don't threaten him. Is that what it is?
I don't think he's a complete monster, and I think he recognizes that she's very different than him, and the whole metaphysical moon water salt whatever that thing was, it's not his thing, but it's her thing, and so he, although he ate salt, is going to try as much as he can to make her feel comfortable until he's uncomfortable.
I want to say that maybe whether it's growth, whether it's signs of the times, or whether it's anything, it's very easy, to throw under the rug Jamie's behavior to Beth because I don't even think I had this much of a visceral reaction the first time I watched it. But as I think back and I put together all the things and rewatching this that he has done to her, quite frankly, I think it's unforgivable. I don't know how I can be with a person who, in the depths of their emotion, chooses to call me the C word, chooses to yell at me in public, chooses to degrade me, and at every chance chooses to cut me down. Like when you put it collectively, or if you play a highlight reel, I feel like we kind of underplayed it. You know how I always, I yap all the time, and I can't remember who I was talking to, but how we as a collective in society just were like, huh, R. Kelly married Aaliyah at 15. That's weird, but let's move on with our lives. And now you think about it, we're like, that was crazy. Not the same scale, but I'm just trying to. I hope you get what I'm trying to say. It's like I feel like we kind of downplayed that as a collective. But when you go back and think about it, those are pretty awful things. And I'm only saying this because I think you just said I don't think he's a monster, and now I'm thinking like I think I do now. I didn't at first.
You think he's a monster?
Well, yeah. I think with the rewatch and putting everything together, I think he's pretty good at his package comes in a man that is very like level-headed, but when you put it in a package or put it in a highlight reel, all of the things, I'm not saying that Beth was a saint or anything, I'm not saying that at all, but I'm just saying like when you put that in a highlight reel, like it's just, and it's the way he doubles down. Even though he's apologizing, it doesn't even seem remorseful because in 5 seconds he'll do it again and then say you pushed me to do it.
Right.
So
And I
I
guess
don't
it's
know.
interesting because I see the same thing about Beth. Like I think she, although she hasn't called him the C word, I don't know if we have a equivalent for men that's really ultra offensive. But if there was, she would use it. I think that they're just they want to antagonize each other, and I think they so want to be right that they're missing the point of this. That even when they met up like coworkers at that ice cream place, like
Mhm.
he came in hot, but she kind of also came in hot. So I just
Well, she wasn't saying anything.
but I think she knows
She
how to egg him on. And again, I'm not a Jamie apologist. I understand everything you're saying, and I don't justify any of the things that he's said or done to her. But I don't think it comes out of nowhere. I don't think he woke up one day and decided to be a monster or whatever we want to call his behavior to this woman. I think she brings this out in him, which is why they should not be together at all. And I think the whole black bear discussion is kind of reflective of their relationship, where she said, no, no, you need to get small, and he goes, no, no, you need to get big. And Deanna's like, oh, you're both right, you need to do both.
Yeah.
And that, maybe that's where they should have high-fived, and maybe that should have been like, oh, okay, we can think differently and still arrive at the same conclusion. But they're so focused on being right. And when the camera panned to Beth's face when Deanna said, "Oh no, you get big," which was Jamie's response. Like she shut down her face, but again, it could be editing. But her
Yeah,
face,
yeah.
her
I saw
face
that too.
defeated.
Yeah.
So there's something about when she's not right, she doesn't know how to handle it, and she either shuts down or lashes out. And it's not right, but they're just not with the people that are going to be able to manage who they are. So
One
I
could argue.
go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Go
No,
ahead. Go
no,
ahead.
no, 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 go ahead.
No, I was like, one could argue that her shutdown could be, oh God, he was right, and that's gonna come with a lot of like smugness that
Maybe,
I'm not in the mood to deal with.
maybe.
But I want to say, like, I agree with you. I know like they trigger each other and they bring out the worst in each other, but I do think in that ice cream place for once, which is why I was emphasizing, like, she said nothing when she came. All she said was, are you gonna come home? And he just went off on a whole tirade about, you did this, you put me down, you did and she was just sucking on her milkshake, and he just kept going on and on and on. And that's what I was referring to in that case, was like, these people.
They're exhausting.
Okay, so the girls gather, the guys gather, the girls gather, and they talk about where they stand in their marriage. And Beth says, like, the thing is that he has crossed lines that she doesn't know if she can come back from, but she really, really loves him. Iris is like, Keith is so cute, Keith is so good, and he's patient, but is this what I want for the rest of my life? I'm like, why wouldn't you want anything else? It's Keith, man.
Yeah,
But
girl.
go ahead.
No, like Keith is, other than Greg, Keith is the best husband on this show. Like I don't know what you're seeing, what she is seeing about him that's giving her reservations. Unless there's a bunch of stuff happening off camera, I don't know what her concerns are with him.
I'm saying though, I'm like, for the rest of my life, I was like, you making out good, but also we don't know about her exes, we don't know anything, so I don't know. Deanna says like they're doing all right, and she's been moving slowly, and he is moving at her pace.